How's it going, hey? This time we're going to look at yoga, and I try to spend as much time on this topic as possible in order to make it clear that practicing yoga, meditation, and spiritualism all lead to the Luciferian doctrine of consciousness and eventually self-worship. And it is a way away from the Most High God of the Bible. And if you wonder why I start with this picture, you will understand it surely by the end of this short video, if it's going to take that long. Maybe you already understand it. This is an article from just a week ago. India celebrates second International Yoga Day. And this is the International Yoga Day logo, or whatever you call it, which is the all-seeing eye of Providence. And this is encompassed by the two hands of this person in that yoga pose. But that is right there, the whole world. And it's clearly depicted as an all-seeing eye. And if you can't see that, then there's little hope for you left. Now, India celebrated International Yoga Day across the nation as various states held yoga sessions where people turned out in large numbers. I don't want to get into much detail in regards to this article. I just want to highlight something at the bottom. Over 173 missions across the world celebrated Yoga Day, and several Indian missions organized a series of curtain raiser events in various parts of the world. The United Nations headquarters in New York was also lit up for the occasion. That's it right here. International Yoga Day in that kind of pyramid sort of position. Now, the UN General Assembly had declared June 21st the International Day of Yoga in 2014 after a call from PM Modi during his address to the UN General Assembly in September. It does look innocent, however, if you understand what the United Nations all about, then it should raise some serious concerns, because that logo is not so different from that one. The earth is encompassed in both logos and forming that eye, although that one only has the 33 regions, which is a reference to the 33 degrees of Freemasonry. From this logo, we're going to jump right here to channel signal and look at some statistics about yoga. Now, this is on the growth of yoga. This is a $27 billion market in the United States on the products only. Just try to understand the gravity of this business. An 80% increase on yoga product spending over the last 5 years. 29% increase in participation in 4 years, from 2008 to 2012. 20 million number of yoga participants in the United States. And there's a 4.8% average annual increase in industry revenue through 2017. Now check this out. When compared to other similar forms of indoor recreation, yoga not only dwarfs the competition, it's the only activity experiencing steady growth. This growth has not gone unnoticed by thousands of studios, apparel and nutritional companies reaping the benefits of a $27 billion industry. So this is not only dwarfing the competition, but the only indoor activity that experiences a steady growth. And I think that is quite something. Now, on International Yoga Day, Ben spotlights importance of healthy living in realizing global goals. This is UnitedNations.org. So the United Nations are fully behind this activity. And this is actually a Yoga Day celebration at a United Nations headquarters. So this is June 21st, 2016. United Nations Secretary General Ban Ki-moon today urged everyone to embrace healthier choices and lifestyles and to commit to unity with other human beings, regardless of ethnicity, faith, age, gender, identity, or sexual orientation. Now, check this out further from this guy. Quote, practicing yoga can also help raise awareness of our role as consumers of the planet's resources and as individuals with a duty to respect and live in peace with our neighbors. Further down the line, all these elements are essential to building a sustainable future of dignity and opportunity for all. Now, the reason why I'm showing you this is because if you are reading between the lines, you see that the United Nations not only endorses yoga, but actively promotes it. And I think the reason for that is because they see it as a unity, as a tool to forge that unity with other human beings and in the global governance unity. And as you see, they even include the sustainable development agenda in this. Now, check this out here. This year's observance of International Day highlights the important role healthy living plays in the realization of the Sustainable Development Goals adopted last year by all UN member states. This means the whole world endorses this kind of life. The world's future is decided, and there's nothing anyone can do about this. And I'll show you how this has a deep spiritual meaning and how indeed the Bible is the way out of this mess. And there's no other truth that can come anywhere near to that. And yoga is just another way of promoting and advocating the Sustainable Development Goals and the Luciferian doctrine of self-worship and consciousness. There is something very important that you can read also in this article. The ancient practice of yoga represents the breath of the eternal. According to one of the world's oldest practitioners, 97-year-old Tao Porchan Lynch, who began learning yoga in India at age 8. Now, quote, when you take a breath, you are tuning into the life force inside of you. and you are tuning into the very spirit of life. This is very important, so just bear with me and try to remember all these things, because from a biblical standpoint, this is all leading up to Luciferian doctrine and Satan worship, because he is the life force and he is the spirit of life these people worship. This is not Christ, and this is by no means the Most High God of the Bible. Now, she said people are always telling her what to do, what not to do. She had no interest in that. This is the self-worship doctrine that you are creating your future. You are the most important thing. You are in the center of your life and not God. Quote, I know that within me is the possibility to go out and do it. And that's pretty much that rebellious philosophy that Lucifer had. As you can read it in Isaiah 14, for thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will sit also upon the mount of congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. And this is exactly the same teaching. I know that within me is the possibility to go out and do it. So after this, I just want to just skim through this real quick, and then we go take a look at again the logo of this yoga day real quick, and then we move on. Now this person goes on to say, just reinforce the United Nations teaching. We need to be able to sit down and talk to each other. We need to search for what is wrong in life. And just check this out. Whatever you put in your mind, you materialize. So let's materialize peace and beauty and the knowledge that each one of us has something good to offer. And I don't want to come across like someone who opposes these things. I just know that this is not what's coming. This is not the United Nations ultimate goal, and this is not how things work. You cannot materialize things that you put your mind to it, and this is not the way that you should be, or anyone should be living. This is self-worship. This is identical to what Lucifer said, and the reason why he was cast down. Because he had pride in himself. And he said that he will ascend into heaven and he will exalt his throne above the stars of God. And this is the exact same thing that we materialize, and we have the key to the future. There is a very important teaching of yoga right here. This is from Yogi Sadhguru Jaggi Vasudev. Now he says there are 2 billion people around the world who practice yoga fundamentally because it works. So there are 2 billion people, almost a third of the world, that are misled by this teaching. And people all over the world believe that they fix themselves from the inside. And just understand that that teaching is the opposite of what the Bible teaches. In Matthew 13, it says, for this people's heart is waxed gross, and their ears are dull of hearing, and their eyes they have closed, lest at any time they should see with their eyes, and hear with their ears, and should understand with their heart, and should be converted, and I should heal them. But blessed are your eyes, for they see, and your ears, for they hear. This is Christ's word. I should heal them. It's not you fixing yourself, but you rather giving up yourself and allowing this teaching and the word of God to heal you and to heal your life. And this is not all. In 2 Chronicles 7, you can read, "If my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves, and pray, and seek my face, and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven, and will forgive their sin, and will heal their land." And this is the Most High God talking to the people. So it is not you fixing yourself or fixing the world. It is the Most High God who fixes your life through you humbling yourself and coming to His ways and following His teaching, as opposed to the United Nations teaching and yoga that is clearly a Luciferian satanic activity. I'm not saying the people are bad or they knowing it. I'm saying this is the fact that what yoga teaches is the opposite of what the Bible does. Okay, hopefully by now you understand that this clearly is a symbolism of the eye, the all-seeing eye of providence. And I wanted to show you just one single thing before we move on. And this is the eye of providence occurring in relation to religion. This is a Catholic priest with the all-seeing eye on his headwear. You see now another one. In the background you have the all-seeing eye. You see the same in a Roman church. Another one. Again in the Vatican. On the dollar bill. Another all-seeing eye symbolism. And you can see that wherever you look. Pretty much nowadays. This is on a Methodist church. Freemasonic handshake. All-seeing eye. Again. You can find the same thing actually in Egyptian symbolism. So the third eye you're working so hard to open up through your spiritualism and meditation is nothing else but the eye of providence, the all-seeing eye of Lucifer. And that fact is beautifully proven from Matthew chapter 4, when you can read again, "The devil taketh him up into an exceeding high mountain, and sheweth him all the kingdoms of the world, and the glory of them, and saith unto him, All these things will I give thee, if thou wilt fall down and worship me." So this is Satan talking to Christ, and he says, "All these things will I give thee, if thou wilt fall down and worship me." Now, if he can give it to him, that means that it is his at the moment. And that symbolized in this picture or symbol where Lucifer is at the top, overseeing the whole world. I want to just take you back here for a second to remind you what these people say about yoga. Okay, so there's this one who says when you take a breath, you are tuning into life force inside of you. You are tuning into the very spirit of life. I know that within me is the possibility to go out and do it. And there's another one here who says they fix themselves from inside. And let's jump real quick to the Greater Church of Lucifer.org and check out what they say. And I want you to bear in mind what you just heard. Once you read Wisdom of Esporus, you might realize that you have been a Luciferian for quite some time. We have not created a new concept of philosophy. We simply present the ancient streams of wisdom and arcane lore in logical, vital philosophy of living. Now check this out. Luciferians seek to balance darkness and light, the shadow representing the primal instinct and our carnal desires. The light, however, being the torch of divine consciousness and an intellectual, strong mind. This is fundamental because Luciferians tend to be very self-deterministic. Notice the specific wording. It does not say that all Luciferians value self-determinism. There is no dogmatic set of beliefs to Luciferianism. Now, if this is not enough for you to understand how pretty much all that is called spiritual and mindful is Luciferian, then I don't know what will. However, check this out here. When you apply the 11 Luciferian points of power in your life, noticing and recognizing the beginnings of self-transformation and all path entails your awareness of possibility will become known to you. When you have applied on some level the 11 points core principles of the Luciferian, you may exalt in the self-emerged light of Lucifer. So here they're talking about the self-emerged light of Lucifer. Now check out Buddhism. Religion and philosophy that developed from the teachings of the Buddha, the awakened one. The self-emerged light of Lucifer, the awakened one. A teacher who lived in northern India between the mid-6th and mid-4th centuries BC before the common era of Christianity. And why I'm showing you Buddhism? Because we're talking about yoga. So if we are at yoga, let's just check a few things out about yoga. Yoga philosophy. Now note please that it doesn't say physical activity, it says philosophy. Because yoga is a philosophy, which just so happens to have a physical aspect. Just like martial arts, it is more than a physical activity. Yoga, one of the 6 systems of Indian philosophy. Its influence has been widespread among many other schools of Indian thought. Its basic text in the Yoga Sutras by Patanjali. So what yoga says and teaches? The practical aspects of yoga play a more important part than does its intellectual content, which is largely based on the philosophy of Samkhya, with the exception that yoga assumes the existence of God, who is the model for the aspirant who seeks spiritual release. So this God is the model for the aspirant who seek spiritual release. Just as it is in the Luciferian philosophy, when you may exalt in the self-emerged light of Lucifer, who is no other than the model for the aspirant who seeks spiritual release. Yoga holds with Samkhya that the achievement of spiritual liberation occurs when the spirit is freed from the bondage of matter that has resulted from ignorance and illusion. And let's jump back right here again. And here we read again, when you apply the 11 Luciferian points of power in your life, noticing and recognizing the beginnings of self-transformation and all paths entails your awareness of possibility will become known to you. You may exalt in the self-emerged light of Lucifer, and you freed from the bondage of matter because of your ignorance and illusion. And this is the Luciferian doctrine. Your awareness of possibility will become known to you. The exact same thing. And if people would research it, then they'd understand it. The whole goal of yoga is that a person can increasingly dephenomenize the self until it re-enters its original state of purity and consciousness. An aspirant who has learned to control and suppress the obscuring activities of the mind and has succeeded in ending attachment to material objects will able to enter samadhi, i.e. a state of deep concentration that results in a blissful, ecstatic union with the ultimate reality. So here you want to achieve a blissful, ecstatic union with the ultimate reality. However, in the Bible, you instructed in 1 Timothy chapter 4, neglect not the gift that is in thee, which was given thee by prophecy, with the laying on of the hands of the presbytery. Meditate upon these things. Give thyself wholly to them, that thy profiting may appear to all. So you're supposed to meditate on what you learn from the Bible, which is the Word of God. And this is confirmed in Joshua 1st chapter. This book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth, but thou shalt meditate therein day and night, that thou mayest observe to do according to all that is written therein. For then thou shalt make thy way prosperous, and then thou shalt have good success. If you meditate on the law, then shall your way be prosperous and have good success. And not if you achieve a blissful ecstatic union with the ultimate reality. Which will result, just check this out, at the end stage, which is the 5th stage, you got loads of stages in yoga meditation. But in the first 5 stages are external aids to yoga. The remaining 3 are purely mental and internal aids. So now you have dharana, holding on, is the ability to hold and confine awareness of external to one object for a long period of time. A common exercise is fixing the mind on an object of meditation, such as the tip of the nose or an image of the deity. And let's just jump back to the Luciferians, who define magic as causing change internally and externally in accordance with the will. This begins on the level of thought and perception. The more you focus on something, the greater the energy is that you focus into it. There is a combination of will, desire, and belief in initiatory circles, which composes the triangle of power. The individual may utilize the tools of meditation, visualization, and using thoughts, words, and actions to cause change in accordance to the will. And I want to take you back to this right here, which says, I know that within me is the possibility to go out and do it. And they fix themselves from the inside. And how's that different from what you see in the Luciferian doctrine, which says that causing change internally and externally in accordance with the will, with your will, with what you want to achieve, with what you want to see in life. And you fix your mind on an object. And that's how you empty your mind, as opposed to meditating on the law. I mean, I hope this makes as much sense as it does to me, because you're doing the exact same thing as the Luciferians teach. Use the mind, the body, and the actions to compel change in your inner and outer world. And it's the same thing what you're doing in yoga. Freeing yourself from the bondage of matter because of ignorance and illusion. And I just want to read this one sentence from here is, dhyana, concentrated meditation, is the uninterrupted contemplation of the object of meditation beyond any memory of ego. Dhyana. Samadhi, total self-collectedness, is the final stage and is a precondition of attaining release from samsara, or the cycle of rebirth. In this stage, the meditator perceives or experiences the object of his meditation and himself as one. Now, there's an interesting correlation right here to Diana from the Roman religion, and that is Diana in Roman religion, goddess of wild animals and the hunt, identified with the Greek goddess Artemis. Her name is akin to the Latin words diem, sky, and dios, daylight. Like her Greek counterpart, she was also a goddess of domestic animals. As a fertility deity, she was invoked by women to aid conception and delivery. There was probably no original connection between Diana and the moon, but she later absorbed Artemis's identification with both Selene, Luna, and Hecate, the chthonic infernal deity, hence the characterization triformis, sometimes used in Latin literature. So she was the moon goddess later on. So is Lucifer the Lightbearer, which you can see right here. And the morning and evening star, a perfect symbol of balance between darkness and light, represented as Venus. You gotta understand that in symbolism, how these people work. And whether you believe in this or you don't, it is irrelevant, because this is how the world is working, and it has been working this way for a very long time. So at this point, I just want to warn you that practicing yoga and meditation is no different from what the Luciferian people do and teach. It is self-realization and expressing your own self and will and creating your reality, as opposed to what the Bible teaches, that is selflessness and giving yourself up to the Most High and executing His will on the earth to receive your reward later on in the afterlife. Obviously, that's very difficult when one believes in reincarnation and brainwashed into believing that there is a universe and we're all going to be one with the universe and all that kind of thing. Understand, all pagan religions are Satan worship after all. There's only two ways, and that is in Matthew 6, no man can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. Ye cannot serve God and mammon. Therefore I say unto you, take no thought of your life, what ye shall eat, or what ye shall drink, nor yet for your body, what ye shall put on. Is not the life more than meat, and the body than raiment? Now how far is this from that kind of philosophy? When you seek spiritual release through yoga and want to be freed from the bondage of matter that has resulted from ignorance and illusion, and you seek the evolution of the world through identifiable stages, through yoga, and you seek knowledge that's supposed to be hidden, and you have to be eventually in an ecstatic state in order to get that knowledge, the same way as the Luciferians do, who seek the exact same thing. And I don't want to make this presentation too long, so I want to finish with John chapter 14 verse 6. Jesus saith unto him, I am the way, the truth, and the life, and no man cometh unto the Father but by me. As you see, everything you need to know is in the Bible. All the truth that you're seeking and looking for is right there. And it is the truth, and it is life. And all what you would get through yoga, and Buddhism, and meditation, and the Luciferian doctrine, or through United Nations, or whatever. It might be some knowledge. It just will not be life. So bear that in mind, and I hope it helped, and I shall speak to you soon.